Personally think a lot of people chase their tail around way too much and like are chasing gear to get better rather than just like shooting a lot more.
And then what broadheads are you using?
So this year I used Beast, broadheads and 2-blade expandables. But the last probably 10 years I used Rage, usually Trypan. And then before that I used the Muzzies with the screw-on cap for like before that.
What are those?
Remember just the OG Muzzies with 3 blades and the little cap?
Yeah.
So I used those for a long time. And then Rage, which I loved. And then I really like these Beasts now. So I've been running those this season.
Then what arrows?
I've been running DCA arrows, deer crossing archery.
How'd you select those? I never even heard of them.
You know, they sent me some to try, and they're way cheaper. They're like a quarter of the price of like a standard, like whatever, an Easton or a Victory or Black or Gold Tip or whatever. And I was like, I'll try them, you know, and they fly like really well, you know. And I was like, okay, well, I'll run these. So I've just been running them, and they're really good arrows, man. And like I run the standard diameters, but they make all different diameters. But yeah, I love them. So like arrow, I usually run about 420 grains. I don't change my arrows like ever for hunting or target shooting, other than the really light ones I brought for 200 yards, which were like 350, 60 grains.
They're flying good.
Yeah, fast, you know, fast and low. Because what you were at like 70 on your tape, right? Wasn't I like 45?
Yeah.
Because they're flying so flat.
Yeah, my arrows are 491.
Yeah.
And that was just my elk hunting arrow, basically. Or
So
I use it for everything.
So you were probably like, I would guess like 270, 280
Something
feet a
like
second.
that, yeah.
And I was probably 330 plus.
Yeah.
So hot, you know.
Makes a difference for sure.
Yeah.
But both the bows were dialed in and laying them in there at 200.
For sure. We were peppering that target, dude.
And that's such good practice because people will say, they'll look at that and be like, you know, think you're like that's a hunting shot or something. It's like, no, it's not a hunting shot. It's just great practice because if you do anything technique-wise wrong, you're missing that fucking block.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, if you're, like I said, with the peep fitment, if you're not perfectly aligned on everything, your grip's consistent, your nose on the string in the same place, your peeps lined up perfect, shot breaks clean, you know, like if you're not doing all those things at 200 yards, you're yard sailing that thing 5 feet to the right.
Yeah.
And guess what? Again, like we talked about, that makes your shot at 25 yards a lot easier.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
I mean, yeah, we didn't even get to like under 70 today, but if we would have, it would have been chip shots. And that's what we're preparing for in hunting. You know, people always ask me, you know, what's your effective range in hunting, or how close do you need to be? And I'm just like, or how far do you need to be? I'm like 20 yards. I'm trying to get 20 yards on everything.
Me too.
And if I can shoot 200 accurately, well then 20 yards I'm going to be able to pick a hair.
For sure. Yeah. I call it TPL, top pin lifestyle is my favorite.
That's all I just want to see how close I can get.
For sure. Yeah. I love that about bow hunting. I mean, like I love to get in there tight, especially spot and stock. I shot my best stock. I got a few, but probably my best stock was on a muley bedded down. I shot him at 6 yards and he was sleeping.
Do you remember what pin you used?
Probably top.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But it was like straight down. Unless I'm shooting at like a tiny 12 ring at a tournament.
Yeah.
At like 9 yards.
Yeah.
That's different. Like I actually do have to shoot for like 47 or 50 or something.
We used to do like, there's a 3-yard shot on this 3D shoot we used to do here, and you had to use your 50-yard pin. That's why I asked. I didn't know if you had to consciously think about that on that shot or not.
Yeah. But no, it is wild like how that works. I had an engineer explain it to me. It has to do with the distance between your D loop and your peep is how you aim.
Your line of sight's here. So your arrow's below your line of sight. So that's why when it's close, it hasn't even come up yet.
Right.
So that you have to use that 50 to get it up. So you're going to hit.
Yeah.
Once it comes and crosses that line of sight, that's when it gets into 20 yards and 30 yards and 40 yards.
Into that plane.
And everything else. But yeah, Yeah, I mean, most people aren't getting 3-yard shots, so it's not going to come up. But
yeah, that was my best like stock. And then I've shot.
How'd you get that close? Did you take your boots off?
I always do.
Yeah,
I got stocking shoes. Yeah, so that's like my thing. I try to get in really tight, take a long time. You know, sometimes I'll glass up a deer and watch them bed up, and I'll check the weather and be like, well, in the 7 hours, the wind's going to pick up to 10 miles an hour. I'll go then. I'll just sit and wait them out, you know, and then go in. And that deer was just like, he bedded in like the perfect, like he bedded right at the top of this pyramid hill, winds blowing over the pyramid hill. Like, oh, dude, if I get to the top, I thought he would be, but it kind of tripped me out because I'm glassing. I'm like, I think he'll be 25 from the top. I get up there, I'm looking for him, bro. He's just like sleeping
right there.
Right. I mean, like, at the American flag right there.
Wow.
Yeah, 4x4. Just out, dude.
Do you wear face paint, or do you wear gloves or put anything in your hand, or just kind of try to stay in the shadows?
I have a net gator that I love because I spend a ton of time glassing. Like I get the Tricer tripod going. Shout out to Tricer. Get the tripod going, and I'll sit there for hours in the sun, you know, just glassing desert. And like I have to have something covering my face and ears or I'll get burnt up. And then for stock, same thing. And for shooting, I don't like gloves or stuff on my face to mess with my anchor, but that gator is so thin that it's like it's skin tight. It's nothing, you know. And so I have that like up to here. Sometimes I'll put it usually right below my nose so I can still hit direct to my nose on the anchor.
Yeah.
But as far as my hands, no, I won't shoot in gloves, but I will sometimes like paint up my hands.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, because when you're trying to get that close to mule deer, they can see the flash of your hands and your face and things like that. It's
Yep.
Yeah, I you know, once we started filming, it's a little bit what I learned is that by myself I can get pretty close. But when I have a cameraman, it's better if I can stay back and shoot that animal relaxed at further distance than trying to get two guys within 30 yards.
For sure.
Or 20 yards.
For sure.
You know, I can shoot at 60, be able to communicate with the cameraman and, you know, wait for the animal to be relaxed, take my time, much higher odds.
Yep.
So that's when we started to film, that's when I started to realize, God, I could up my odds by being able to shoot a little further.
Dude, for sure. And I think actually as I became, over the years, more and more knowledgeable about hunting these deer, spot and stalk, like when they're laying down, you know. Nowadays, I like to get to 40 yards and just sit and wait them out. 5, 6, however long I have to, I'll just sit and wait. But I don't want to get within 40 generally.
Yeah, the wind can give you up just one little
anything. And 40 gives you a little more room for air. And it's like I'm gonna pinwheel them at 40. Like I'm gonna pinwheel them. You can range everything, you know, so that way when he stands up and walks out, you already know, okay, you walk by that bush, it should be about 43, you know, like, or whatever. But yeah, I think that's such a good way to hunt. And I learned that actually from Jim Burnworth's show. He said that when he stalks in on big bucks, he'll like post up at 40.
Okay.
And not move in.
Yeah.
I still do sometimes, like, because sometimes he might have a time constraint or think the weather's going to swap or something. It's like, I might be better being a little more aggressive here. Like the coos I just shot a few weeks ago, I had sat down and was waiting at about 50. But the guy who was glassing for me had to go to like a important meeting at a bank. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to push in there then. Like if I spook him, it's not the end of the world. And I thought I was going to spook him. I really did. And he's like, he's right under a mesquite bush. Like, and I'm like, okay, I see 3 mesquite bushes as one of them. Come around the first one. I'm like, don't see him. Come around the second one. I see it casting shade. I go, guaranteed, you know? Bro, he just bedded right under this tree. Like, and I'm 32 yards.
Was it wide open to him?
Pretty much. But I was lucky. I had a cactus and a little bush between us. But he saw me kind of come around the corner, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I got to draw and shoot. And I could see, luckily, which way he was laying. Put the pin right on his front shoulder. Drew, and then he like perked up, and I'm like, this was a 3-second shot. Get the shot off, because those coos are fast. When they stand up, they're gone. Dude, hit him right through the front shoulder. I watch him run off, and he does a loop and just tops over.
You shot him bedded?
Yep, 32.
Oh, nice.
It's only the second deer I've shot actually like bedded. Usually I'll wait for them to get up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you can't see the direction they're facing. But in this case, I was fortunate I could see his orientation.
Yeah, and it can be weird. Sometimes they'll lay more on the shoulder. Sometimes they're more like on their chest, on their sternum, like straight up. Sometimes they'll like lean over a little bit, and it changes that angle when you're trying to study. Because I've done that with elk before. I shot an elk that was laying down. Freaking did not get any penetration.
Oh, because his shoulder had it all locked up.
Yeah, and it went, and he didn't know what the hell happened, so he stood up. I knocked an arrow real quick, shot him again. But it almost cost me that. I almost screwed that up.
Yeah, and it does really change that bone configuration when they're laid up. He was laying a little more, like not totally on his side, but like a little bit on his side. And yeah, the shot was, I mean, really, it was a good shot for sure.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my feel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Haynes. Oh, give me the Mars, nobody wants, I'll give you my heart, I came to work.